period of time under Darrell Royal, but the Aggies have won 5 straight. And boy, has that caused some problems in Austin, Texas. And Vince Dooley, who joins me, you've been a part of so many rivalries. This is another one that ranks very, very high.
It's a big one, and to show you how big it is, when Texas lost 3 in a row, they had a coaching change in Texas. Now that they've lost 2 in a row to A&M and the possibilities of another today, Texas has ordered a complete study of their football program, and the outcome of today's game, I think, will affect the outcome of that study.
Well, it has been a roller coaster ride for David McWilliams, now in his 3rd year. Take a look. They're 1-2 after the first 2 games with losses to Penn State and Colorado. Now, they're good. But then they defeat Oklahoma and Arkansas, 2 bitter rivals on their schedule. But then they lose to Texas Tech, Houston, and Baylor at home, and the folks in Austin are not used to that. So what's going to happen?
Well, I think what you've got is an explanation of why it's happened. 2 things. Number one, Texas is playing a tremendous number of young players. And when you play that many, you're going to have inconsistency. Secondly, the old turnover factor. When they beat Arkansas and Oklahoma, they had a total of 3 turnovers, 2 games. In the last 3 games, they've had 15 turnovers, 8 in the last game, and you can't win that way, Jim.
All right, Coach, so what do you do about it?
Well, we're going to see a change at quarterback. Young Peter Gardea has played well, but he's had a nagging shoulder injury, and that has contributed to 9 interceptions in 3 games. His confidence is rattled. What we're going to see is Donovan Forbes. He's a 5th-year senior. He's had some injuries. He's got a very strong arm, and he's got great speed, and you're going to need that speed to scramble against this A&M rush. I think what we're going to see is a Donovan who has been in a relief role starting today.
All right, now it's been a very good year for R.C. Slocum in his debut as the head football coach here at Texas A&M. But the bad news is they lost the Cotton Bowl chance against Arkansas, and they will not have this knee that belongs to this man. He, too, a Heisman candidate at the beginning of the year. Darren Lewis, almost 1,000 yards on the year for him. And, boy, not having him is going to be a problem for Slocum and his staff.
It will be, and that'll be a factor because it'll make a close game closer. But the loss of Lewis means that there's going to be more on the shoulders of Lance Pavlis. He's had a splendid year as a first-time starter, but last week he made a poor decision in the Arkansas game. Threw an interception was a key factor. It's been hard for him to shake that. It's really hard. It's been a tough week for him. But the real test of any quarterback is to mentally shake a bad mistake, get ready for the next game, and I believe that Pavlis has the right stuff to do that.
All right, speaking of the right stuff, here come the Texas Longhorns, hoping to do something they haven't done in 6 years. And now, Texas A&M. ESPN's College Football Saturday, Texas versus Texas A&M, is brought to you by AT&T, the right choice. By Jeep, there's only one Jeep. And by GE Audio Products. The Longhorn, Bevo, can't wait. He's focused in on the Aggies, looking for a chance at Reveille. It's the Aggies and the Horns coming up next from College Station. The opening kick when we return. We're live at Kyle Field in College Station, Texas. Just moments ago, it got ugly at midfield. This is something that sadly we've seen before in college football. It very nearly happened when Florida State played Miami, and it did happen in the tunnel at Notre Dame. Texas A&M and Texas jawing at midfield, and then suddenly some punches thrown. Apparently no one has been ejected, Vince, but this is something we've seen all too often.
It's a bad scene and a bad reflection on college football, and it's got to have some way to address it and to clear that up in the future. This could have really been bad. It's terrible as it is now. And when you get two teams coming out looking at each other eyeball to eyeball, you got problems.
David McWilliams, the head coach of the Longhorns, and R.C. Slocum of Texas A&M. These are 2 men that we're talking about how good this rivalry's been. That because both of them had done such an outstanding job in bringing these teams along, you figure you wouldn't have this problem with Slocum and McWilliams, and yet it happens. I don't believe we should see this many players at midfield, Vince.
Well, there's no way that players should go past the hash mark on either side. If you get beyond that, outside of the captains, you're asking for trouble. And that's exactly what happened. You can't have people with the emotions that have built up prior to this ball game, looking at each other eyeball to eyeball, saying things to each other. Something's bad to happen, and it's just unfortunate in this kind of a rivalry.
The weather here could be a factor. 53 degrees. The temperature will drop. The wind now blowing out of the north as a new front is about to come through. That wind could pick up as we move later into the afternoon. A 40% chance of rain here. So it will be a factor as this day progresses. And you can tell it's gusting up around 15 miles per hour as you look at the United States flag in the north end. Texas A&M won the toss. They have deferred, so Texas will receive the opening kickoff, and that's Lane Talbot who will be handling the chores for the Aggies once we get underway. Something else we should mention about this game, Vince, so much has been mentioned about the Arkansas game and a controversial call made in that game by a Southwest Conference official that graduated from Arkansas. We have two officials in today's game that are graduates of Texas. That only adds to the rivalry, and perhaps we should see a change made by the conferences where this is concerned.
Well, I don't think there's any question about it. There ought to be a change. I don't think that anybody ought to be asked to officiate in a game in which they finished. That was their alma mater. You're asking for trouble. I don't care how objective you may be. You're asking for trouble. There's no way that people are going to understand that. And I think it's a very poor rule on the part of the Southwest Conference Officials Association, and they ought to change it.
Talbot teeing the ball up. And back deep for the Longhorns. Number 36, Adrian Walker, along with number 23 for Texas, Chris Samuels. Samuels a running back, along with Walker. In fact, they will share time at that halfback spot. The fight is over, and the game has begun. And Walker slips, and he's down at the 9-yard line. There was some rain earlier today, and already we've had one slip. Your road handler starting lineup for Texas at quarterback will be Donovan Forbes out of Baytown, Texas, who gets the start. Winfred Tubbs and Chris Samuels will be his running backs. Johnny Walker and Tony Jones, the receivers. The tight end, Kerry Cash. He'll line up as an H-back from time to time. Patrick McFarland, the center. The guards that will flank him, Dwayne Miller and Scott Gooch. And the tackles for the Horns, Ed Cunningham, an All-American preseason pick, and Stan Thomas. First down, 10 Texas. They start at their own 9-yard line. That's the tight end, Cash, moving into that slot. And they go with Walker, and he stops. Jeroy Robinson back at the 7-yard line. And the rest of that Aggie defense shows John Miller at nose guard. He'll be flanked by Terry Price and Kevin Tucker in the 3-man down alignment. Anthony Williams and Jeroy Robinson, the inside linebackers. The rush exchange is Aaron Wallace and William Thomas, along with Derek Frazier and Kevin Smith in that perimeter, joined by safeties Gary Jones and Larry Horton. It was Horton that was involved in the controversial pass interference call against Arkansas last week. Second down and 11 after a loss of 1. Walker again, trapped behind the line at the 5-yard line, and a bevy of Aggies on top of him, led by Jeroy Robinson, the senior from nearby Bryan, Texas.
What we've had is 3 plays by Walker, and it looks like all 3 plays, his footing is not very good. He's slipping, and there's wet on the field, and I think that the grain a certain way, if you step a certain way, you're going to slip, and I think it's affected Walker on all 3 of his ball possessions.
Third down and 12 as they mark it at the 7-yard line. They fake the draw, and they look deep for Tony Jones, and they'll rule it an interception. Kevin Smith, the sophomore from Orange, Texas, picks it off. That's his 9th interception of the year.
Well, Tony Jones can fly. 4.25 on the 40. He runs right by Smith, and what a job Smith does. He's got him beat. The ball is just a little short. And watch this interception by Smith. Kevin Smith, it's his 9th interception of the year. He's got a real knack. They call him the Spider-Man.
Remember, the pass thrown against the wind. A&M has it now, and Robert Wilson fumbles. And it's recovered by the Longhorns. Number 92, James Patton on top of it. Boy, does that change the scenario. Now field position suddenly with the Longhorns.
There's Wilson right there. We'll see who got a hold of the ball. Can't see yet.
Hackamack, 68, Coach. He's the guy that stripped it, and James Patton on top of it, number 92. Hackamack, their best defensive lineman. He's a rangy one at 6'9".
Well, they say anywhere from 6'8" to 6'10". 6'9" might be a compromise.
First and 10 with the ball at the 38. And here goes Adrian Walker. He has 9 yards. Jeroy Robinson again on the stop, who's already been involved in 3 tackles thus far.
Walker looked like he was steadier then in running, and here's Jeroy Robinson, who's probably the strongest player on the team, and he has that strength reaching out, making the tackle. But it looks like Walker ran a lot better, had a little more balance than he did the first 3 times that he carried the football.
Second down and a yard to go. That's Tubbs, who at 6'5", only a freshman, is getting a chance to start today. This is a very young Texas football team, and one of the reasons that most believe that the future is still bright for David McWilliams, though he is being evaluated in the 10-day period that will follow this game.
There are a lot of young players, and Tubbs, one of many freshmen that they're playing. I think there's probably 17 or 18 freshmen that have played and played a lot. Now, that includes both true freshmen as well as redshirt freshmen. And Tubbs is a big, strong back, and he's a heck of a runner for 6'5", 240 pounds.
David brought up a very interesting point when we spoke yesterday, that fullback really has been the problem spot in his offensive scheme so far this year.
Well, it has been, and that's why they want to give Tubbs, and that's why they've made the change, actually, to put Kerry Cash in there as the H-back. And they're using the second tight end, Thrift, to be the regular tight end. And Cash, you'll see him jumping around from right to left, which is an old H-back situation.
Something you see a great deal of in the National Football League in recent years. That's the H-back position right there in the slot. Kerry Cash. And the pass is intercepted. Gary Jones picks it off, and the Aggies have it back. Three turnovers already.
The quarterback for us was looking for Cash. He's an excellent receiver, and he jumps hard, but he just overthrew him right here. And Cash picks it off, number 6. And that's 2 interceptions and 2 passes, and that's what's plagued Texas all the last 3 ball games. The only thing now is will A&M turn it back to him.
So Forbes has overthrown one and underthrown one. First and 10 Aggies at midfield. Pavlis straight back. That's Cornelius Patterson. Incomplete. He lost it as he went out of bounds. Well thrown, though, by Pavlis. And the Aggie offense looks this way. Lance Pavlis will be at quarterback out of Tomball, Texas. Keith McAfee in place of Darren Lewis, who we told you was out. Robert Wilson, the fullback. They're high on him. Waddle and Patterson are the wide receivers. The tight end, an outstanding prospect, Mike Jones. Mike Arthur, the center, with the guards flanking him, Mike Pappas and Keith Alex. And the tackles, Matt McCall and Richmond Webb. Second and 10. McAfee burrowing inside the 45 down to the 44-yard line. The Longhorn defense shapes up this way. James Patton and Ken Hackamack, who forced that turnover earlier, the tackles. The end, Shane Braunette and Oscar Giles. The linebackers, Dwayne Duncombe and Anthony Curl. And the middle linebacker, Brian Jones, the transfer of UCLA. Mark Barry and Grady Cavness, the corners. And the safeties, Lance Gunn and Stanley Richard. Third down and 5. Quick drop, and they look for Patterson. Incomplete, down at the 26-yard line. Good coverage, though, by the Longhorns. Mark Barry, number 9, was the cornerback. But again, Patterson had an opening.
This Pavlis, I thought that the protection was good. He steps up good, stays steady, and he gets hit pretty good. But I thought he threw the ball as Hackamack, and he can hit anybody at 6'10", 305.
They'll punt it, looking for the corner, but it will go into the end zone. So the Longhorns get it back, 44-yard punt. 3 turnovers, but no points to show for them for either club. ESPN's College Football Saturday, Texas versus Texas A&M, is brought to you by Fuji, makers of quality film and cameras. Fuji, a new way of seeing things. And by Mitsubishi Big Screen Televisions. This game would look better on a Mitsubishi big screen. With Vince Dooley, I'm Tim Brando. We're in College Station, Texas. We've already had a pregame fight and 3 turnovers, but no points have been scored. 1st and 10, Texas at their 20. Trips receivers up to the top of your screen. Forbes in trouble and down. Terry Price, number 88, the defensive end out of Plano, Texas, a senior, 6'5", 272-pounder, chasing him down.
Price is a top football player on A&M's defense. He is really the only true lineman. Watch him spin out of there and then chase Forbes down from behind. He's got good speed, good range. He's 6'5", 270, and he can run, and he's a good one.
2nd and 10. Cash, the tight end, again in that H-back position in the slot to the right side. And the pitch is to Adrian Walker. He gets 3 yards, and Jeroy Robinson stops him in his tracks. Let's get to Bob Carpenter with more on some other rivalries, Bob.
All right, Jimmy, thank you very much. In the SEC, Bama is at Auburn, and it's Tigers now in the 3rd quarter. James Joseph will go over the top for his 2nd touchdown of the day, 14-10, and the Tigers are deep in Bama territory again.
Thank you, Bob. And they've never had the problem of where this game would be played, as they have in the Auburn-Alabama series, but they did have a problem at midfield today prior to the start of our game. It's 3rd and 7 with a timeout being called here with 10:09 remaining in the opening quarter. The Horns and the Aggies underway for the 96th time. After a frenetic start, we're back. Only 4+ minutes have elapsed, but a lot has happened with nothing on the scoreboard here between Texas and Texas A&M. 3rd and 7 for the Longhorns. That pass is caught by Johnny Walker, the junior from San Antonio, Texas, but he appears to be short of the 1st down, and it will be a punt formation for Texas.
While the ball was thrown low, still you notice that Walker slid a little bit, and that turf is very slippery. We've had some rain, had some last night a little bit, some today, and it will cause the AstroTurf to slip.
Bobby Liljadal will punt it away for Texas, one of the best in the Southwest Conference. Shane Garrett back deep for Texas A&M.
Look out.
Nearly blocked.
You got a piece of it.
And it's coming down inside Texas territory at the 49-yard line. Just an 11-yard punt. And it appeared to be number 9, Steve Lofton of the Aggies, that got a piece of that one, the defensive back. There he is.
Steve Lofton, who came off the corner, nobody hit him. He just missed. Got just a little piece of it. And you can see that the Liljadal is looking for the ball. Look at that. He went right over it and just missed it. Got a little bit.
Yeah, Liljadal goes directly back.
Yeah,
he thought there was no way that ball could not have been behind him. 1st down and 10, Texas A&M at the 49. 3 turnovers and a blocked punt. And no score. McAfee. Brian Jones is there to hit him. The junior from Lubbock, Texas, transferred from UCLA. He has made the transition from the outside linebacking spot, which is what he played as a freshman for Terry Donahue, to the middle at Texas.
Actually, it was a 50 linebacker to a middle, and he has made, and he's just tremendous against the run. He's a stocky player at about 6'3", 240, and an excellent tackler, and he is getting better and better at that middle linebacking position.
2nd and 8, out of the eye. McAfee runs right into Hackamack. Kenny Hackamack makes the stop. A short gain again, so it's a 3rd and 5 situation coming up. And other scores to tell you about today on this Saturday in December. Auburn leading in the 3rd, but Alabama was driving at last report from Bob Carpenter. Tennessee and Vanderbilt, the Vols get it. So should Auburn knock off Alabama, that would give Tennessee its share of the title in the SEC. And Arkansas, well on their way now against SMU. They loft this one for Patterson, incomplete. Patterson has been in a position to make 3 catches. He was hit out of bounds one time. This one again just a bit overthrown.
Patterson's a little receiver. He's only 5'8", 150. He runs good routes. The ball was thrown. He could have made the catch, but if you just got another half an inch, what a difference it makes instead of being 5'8" if you were 6'1".
John Wilson will punt it away. And you see Samuels, Chris Samuels back deep. It's a line drive punt that will sail into the end zone. A 45-yarder, and again, the Horns will take over at their 20-yard line. Well, the Aggies come in 7-3, Texas 5-5. And you look at the team comparison between these two, and remember, the passing yardage has dropped significantly in this most recent bad run for the Longhorns, and the Aggies have been pretty consistent, and that's a good run-to-pass ratio.
Well, I think it's tremendous balance when you're rushing for 210 and 175, basically throwing the football. That's my kind of balance, Tim.
Tony Jones comes to the top of your screen, the speedster, number 4. And Cash moves into the H-back spot. 1st and 10. That's Tubbs. All 6'5" of him ranging through for a 4-yard gain. And Reveille 5 is geared up for this one. I know you love the tradition of college football. You got to see with the burial spots.
I did. I learned a little bit about Reveille. I don't know why I call him that, but as I understand it, the old dog that they found many years ago, every time that the bugle would throw Reveille, then he'd bark. So they call him Reveille.
And there's Bevo, who's had a long, long season. As you see some other scores, Arkansas having some trouble now with SMU. Boy, would that change things in the Southwest Conference. Tubbs stopped again. Bob Carpenter will have those scores and highlights at halftime. And our college football scoreboard show, which precedes Florida and Florida State.
There's Aaron Wallace, who has already holds the career sack record, and it also is a great example of the speed. Now watch all the A&M players come. They come in a hurry. Robinson, here they are. They've got tremendous speed on defense. There's a great example of it.
One of the Blitz brothers, John Roper, of course, now playing for the Chicago Bears, and Wallace has given up some of his press this year to William Thomas. Number 11 on the opposite side has had his share of positive press. Here he comes, and they take advantage of it. There goes Tubbs.
Look out.
Winfred Tubbs, only a freshman. Down at the 4-yard line. Chased down by Derek Frazier. Another freshman from Sugar Land, Texas, saving the touchdown for the Aggies. 72 yards on the run for Tubbs.
When you blitz, that means that there's man in the secondary, and the blitz was picked up, so once you break, you got a clear shot, and that's exactly what happens because you're playing man in the secondary, and there's nobody back there in the zone to cover it. So what a great job this Frazier did of finally making the tackle.
Well, those are two guys that may meet one another a few more times in this rivalry. 1st down and goal, full house backfield. And number 11 carrying it down to the 1-yard line, Keith Cash, who also plays that flanker position.
Well, here's Wallace coming off the corner, and you watch a little stunt between the two. And Cunningham, number 72, picks him up. Wallace hadn't even seen the football yet, and usually when you're blitzing, Tim, you just take off. You don't see the football, and that's what happened, I'd say, to half of A&M players, and they didn't see the football.
2nd and goal. Samuels, touchdown, Texas. The first 9 minutes of this first quarter had been played entirely in the Texas side of the field. Tubbs with the 74-yard run to set up the Longhorns touchdown, and Samuels gets it. The extra point by Wayne Clements is good, and it's a 7-0 Horns lead.
They were in the full house backfield, and here goes Samuels, and he's running behind Cunningham, number 72, their left tackle, and that's where they want to go on short yardage. That's where they want to go on goal line, and Samuels gets his shoulders down and makes a right into the end zone for the touchdown.
Plenty of college basketball to come your way, and we've got college football today with this one in Florida and Florida State. Our score 7-0, but the Southwest Conference and the rest of the country cannot believe this. SMU leading Arkansas. Romo, who's had a great year throwing for Forrest Gregg, with a touchdown pass, and this would be the biggest upset
of the decade.
Perhaps of the century in college football. I mean, a program that lost was out of the business entirely, knocking off a team like Arkansas.
Incredible.
Since the Princeton near upset of Georgetown in college basketball.
Oh, okay.
Princeton upsetting the near upset of Georgetown in college basketball.
I thought you were going back 100 years ago in football. I didn't remember Princeton and Georgetown.
Well, in intercollegiate athletics, the Princeton near miss against Georgetown would have been the upset of the century. Clements puts it in the air. Cornelius Patterson underneath it for the Aggies at his 20. That's a face mask. He's up to the 33-yard line. It appeared to be a face mask, but apparently not called. Now, here is the play that set up the touchdown, Vince.
You can see Robinson, number 97, who's down. He runs up, and there again he runs right by. When you're rushing the passer, when you just take off on the blitz, you're going to run by the ball carrier a lot. And they ran the draw. And here goes Tubbs. Oh, that's 250 pounds. He is really laboring.
Well, he hasn't played a great deal, and certainly that's his longest run of the year. Out of the I formation at the 32. McAfee met by Jones. Brian Jones.
Oh, you could go to a clinic and use that as a tackle at a coaching clinic. There's Tubbs, number 44. And he needs a good rest after that run.
The scoring drive for the Horns. 5 plays, 80 yards, just 2:28 off the clock. Samuels gets the thank you touchdown after the long haul by Winfred Tubbs. The lone setback is McAfee. It's 2nd and 11. McAfee wrapped up behind the line. Shane Dronette, the freshman from Orange, Texas. And other scores today in college football. This final Saturday for most teams. Auburn leading Alabama still by a touchdown. Houston all over Rice in the 4th quarter. Andre Ware well on his way to the Heisman, it appears. Pittsburgh, that game in Dublin, Ireland today. They win it, and they'll play Texas A&M at the John Hancock Sun Bowl. And Georgia Tech beats your dogs, Coach.
Well, that's a big win for Tech, and it's always tough for us. Big rivalry.
3rd and 14. The pass incomplete. Fans want pass interference. Cornelius Patterson again, the intended receiver. He may have been playing the ball, though, Vince.
He came right in front of him, I believe, and that was Cadmus. Great pressure on the quarterback, but I thought that he threw the ball really well. Here comes Pavlis now, and there's good pressure, but he threw it in there. Let's see. Oh, does he get hit? Now, that's about the 3rd time he's been hit.
They come after the punt again, and they've got it. And we've got a marker down way back on the other side of the playing field at the 28-yard line of Texas. 2 penalty flags are down now. There was no question the Longhorns were coming after it. So Texas A&M got a piece of one, and now Texas comes after one.
Well, you got
it goes against the Longhorns. Too many men on the playing field. Let's take a look.
Well, let's see if we can count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
One guy back in the back to receive.
That's 12.
That's 12.
And that is a terrible mistake. Really, really bad. It's very costly. You penalize, they get the ball back. And somebody on the sidelines is responsible to make sure that you count the people in there, and also to make sure that you got the right people in there on all your special situations. And that's got to be rehearsed and rehearsed and rehearsed over until you can't make that kind of mistake. Let's listen.
Illegal participation, defense, first down.
Translation, too many men on the playing field. Our referee, Lloyd Dale, making the call. And David McWilliams, we talk about him in the staff being under review. Really, the assistants are perhaps being scrutinized far more than the head coach in the Texas situation.
I don't think in this that David McWilliams is the problem. However, he's on the sidelines talking to one of the coaches responsible for it as to why there were 12 people on the field.
Much of that 97 yards belongs to Winfred Tubbs. And on first down, McAfee, after that huge break, gets it down into Texas A&M, or Texas territory, down to the 43-yard line.
McAfee is a very good replacement for Lewis. This is the counter trap play. Finds the daylight inside. And what a difference this has made on that penalty. Tim, you're down there. Texas would have had the ball on the 20. Now A&M has the ball in Texas territory.
We're talking about a swing of perhaps 14 points should the Aggies score on this drive. McAfee nailed from behind by Ken Hackamack.
Hackamack is having one great day, and he's up against Alex, who is only a sophomore. He's almost as big as Hackamack. They're both 305, but he's quicker than he is. And this big guy, who is 6'9", and that's a heavy hit when somebody like that hits you. And I'm sure McAfee is a little sore right now.
2nd and 9. Play fake to McAfee. Lance has some room. Cracked down at the 32-yard line. The first to make contact, Mark Berry, number 9, the quarterback. A 9-yard gain for the Aggie quarterback.
Collins comes out on play action of the waggle. And if you got this opportunity to run, take it. Did a good job. Nice tackle. But he got it for the first down. Good decision by Pappas.
2:47 and counting. We're in the first quarter. It's 1st and 10 Aggies, and they run out of the I.
Play action.
They dump it out to Jones, the tight end, and the outstanding prospect is inside the Longhorn 20-yard line. Mike Jones out of Bridgeport, Connecticut, has really been a find for this Aggie offense, and more Bob Toledo, the offensive coordinator, is going to it.
Mike Jones is about 6'4" and about 260, and he has been an outstanding player for him this year. Good receiver, good blocker, a superb athlete.
These are programs, Vince, that very rarely used tight ends in their passing scheme in their histories. We're seeing that change in the Southwest Conference and in college football. 1st and 10. Percy Waddle gives motion. And McAfee follows Jones. And Jones, while trying to deliver the block, was thrown back into the running back. Big number 95 of the Longhorns was responsible for that play, Michael Polak.
Let's see Michael Jones, number 82. Good job of getting under the blocker. Runs him on out, but the back has to cut back inside, and a good job by Giles.
Oscar Giles, number 95, making that play go nowhere. 2nd and 12. Pavlis on his knees to Waddle at the 13-yard line. Pickup of 10 on the play.
Pavlis is doing a good job. He's been hit quite often, but he drills the ball down here to Garrett. He's gotten hit again. Garrett goes right down on his knees to ensure that he catches the football.
It's 3rd down and short yardage. 3rd down and 2 for Texas A&M. 10th play of the drive. Motion in the Longhorn defensive alignment. Tommy Jeter, number 99, appeared to get inside that zone.
Dead ball, offside, defense.
Another key mistake by the Longhorns.
They've had some penalties. They went early in the year where they didn't have any penalties, and in one ball game they had 20 penalties. But they have had 2 key ones right now. This one here, but of course the biggest one of all was having 12 men on the field on the punt, which they got because the punter dropped the football.
And Jeter's out of the game now. You saw McWilliams talking to him over there on the sidelines. From the 7, they come back with the reverse.
Oh, look at that.
Jones near the pylon. The tight end coming from the other side, stopped by Stanley Richard, who saved the touchdown. Richard has been involved in far too many tackles for the Longhorns this year.
Boy, that is a reverse. Fake to the tailback, and here comes the tight end Jones around, and he is a load. He hits him pretty good. Richard hits him good, but Jones carried him an extra 2 yards, and now inside the 1-yard line.
McAfee is the eye back. You see the possession time, and it could be productive. McAfee. Touchdown. The side judge took some time, but he finally did raise those arms. And without Darren Lewis, his backup McAfee gets in for 6. And the extra point now to come from Lane Talbot. It's true. And remember this, a 14-point swing because the Longhorns had 12 men on the field on the punt.
McAfee is going over the top, and you'll see the middle linebacker, Jones, trying to slink at him, just misses him. Too late. He's past the goal line, and once you go past that stripe, it's all over. Inside the 1, this is a play. He just got off the runway, found a good runway, and then got off of it and got across before he was knocked back.
A very good surge from Jones, the tight end, and Jones, the linebacker here.
Here's Jones moving about, trying to find the spot where he's going to go. He comes off the block, but he's knocked back. He's got 2 blockers, the center and the lead block. So he doesn't, it's amazing that he did as well as he did, considering the 2 blockers on him.
The call seemed to be a good one.
You'll see the center blocking. He gets off of that, and then the back blocks it. And then he only gives him a yard.
The first replay we showed you from the side certainly showed you that he did cross that plane, and McAfee is in for the touchdown to tie this game at 7. And again, we point back to the turning point. 2 critical penalties against Texas, the first of which gave the Longhorns the ball back on the 4th and 14 punt formation.
That was extremely critical. I knew it was critical at the time. Instead of Texas having the ball on the 20-yard line, it ends up that A&M got it, and then they went in and scored.
And the kick comes down to Adrian Walker, and he's up to the 34-yard line. The Arkansas Razorbacks, fighting for the Southwest Conference title, have now overtaken SMU by a touchdown. Quinn Grovey on a 3-yard run. They lead by 7 with 3 minutes remaining in that game. Montana leading Eastern Illinois. The Division I AA quarterfinals underway. Stephen F. Austin from up in Nacogdoches, Texas, leading in the 4th quarter. Furman, by the way, playing without Frankie DeBus, their starting quarterback, well on their way in that ball game. And of course, Irk Russell will be the host for the Division I AA title, as Georgia Southern down in Statesboro will have that final game that you'll see later on ESPN. 1st and 10. Donovan Forbes in at quarterback. The pass incomplete, intended for Cash, the tight end, or H-back today, as they've gone with that twin tight end look offensively for the Longhorns.
Cash was open, and he threw the ball just a little high, but Gary Jones, the strong safety, is a heavy hitter. As a matter of fact, he knocked out Grovey. Let's see if we can see Jones now. The ball's a little high, and he makes a nice play, but watch his hit. Gary Jones is something. He knocked out Grovey, the Arkansas quarterback, a year ago. Knocked him out of the ball game with a hit.
2nd and 10. Tubbs, who already has a 74-yard run.
Look at that.
Running with power and authority up to the 40-yard line.
He's a load, that guy.
Well, he could run out of gas maybe in the last 10 yards of a 100-yard dash, but when you need the tough 4 or 5, he's okay, Coach.
Well, in that case, he got 7. I'll tell you, and he got hit about 3 or 4 times. When you're 6'5" and you're 240, you're carrying a pretty good body with you. Here he goes by 1. Let's see. He knocks that one out of the way. Give me another one. He pops that one. He spins him around. They finally gang up on him after he picks up 7 yards.
We've come to the end of 1 quarter. The Aggies and Horns are tied at 7 in this Lone Star War. Welcome back to College Station, Texas. They're on their feet. The Horns and the Aggies are tied at 7. It's 3rd down and 4 for Texas as we open the 2nd quarter. That's Cash moving into the slot, the H-back. Forbes over the middle. He's got number 1, the split end, Johnny Walker. Out to the 41-yard line on 19-yard pickup, and the Texas drive stays alive.
Johnny Walker has been the leading receiver this year because of Jones being hurt. He has superb hands, and if you put the ball around him, nice pass by Forbes, you can count on Walker catching the football. Horton, who has made a lot of tackles, he's a leading tackler, as a matter of fact, made the play on Walker.
Johnny Walker, also an accomplished baseball player for Cliff Gustafson, one of the most solid baseball programs in college baseball. 1st down and 10 at the 41 of Texas A&M. That's Cash in motion, and they'll follow him with Winford Tubbs on the toss sweep. Well, he bounced off Horton and a couple of other guys. Another 7-yard pickup, and let's get back to Bob Carpenter. Bob?
All right, Timmy, and let's get back to Auburn, where the Tigers are now in control. From the end zone, you'll watch Darrell Williams go 12 yards for a touchdown, and now into the 4th quarter. The Tide down by 2 scores.
All right, Bob, thank you. And that's tough news for Miami. They would have loved to have played an unbeaten Alabama team in the Sugar Bowl if they were to gain the national title. Tubbs down to the 30-yard line. It appears to be enough for the 1st down for Texas. He has been the workhorse in this offense that Lynn Amedee has changed for this game.
Well, he just leans forward, and when you give the ball to Tubbs, and that's why you're beginning to make the chains move, because normally he was stopped about 2 yards before for the 1st down marker. Now, you mentioned the change. You're right. They have a change because they've had a problem at fullback. So what they've done, they've taken their tight end, Cash, a fine athlete, and they've gone to an H-back, which means that back is lined up in the wing back position. He motions, and he's the one who ends up taking the fullback's place in blocking. Plus, he's such a fine receiver, they can get him out for the reception.
He really is like an extra wideout, but he does have the size of a tight end and or a fullback.
And he can block. He can run and throw. Now, there's Tubbs once again. Just the power and the strength that makes the difference between making a 1st down and not making a 1st down.
David McWilliams played in this series in the early 60s when the Horns won a national title under Darrell Royal. Now being able to experience it as a head football coach with a lot on the line for his program. 1st down and 10. The ball at the Aggie 31. Tubbs, the lone setback. And they come with a blitz, and Tubbs ran right into it. Number 90, Kevin Tucker, the freshman right defensive end from Angleton, Texas, the first to make contact, but they were bringing a load at the linebacking spot.
Well, you got to get Tubbs before he gets started. That's the best way to stop him, because once he gets started, it's a nice play here. Once he gets started, he's a tough back. And when you get penetration like A&M does, you got an opportunity to stop a back, a big back like that, before he gets started.
2nd and 11. Premature movement again in that Aggie defensive front. And we've got a marker down. Lloyd Dale, our referee, will give us the word, the man in the white hat.
Bob Davie, the defensive coordinator, wanted to move around a lot and hope to cause some confusion with the Texas offense, and maybe make them move. We'll see who moved this time.
Dead ball. Ball starts. Offense. Bring down.
And that's exactly what he wanted to do. A&M is so quick on defense. They wanted to keep, there's Davey right there, Bob Davey. 5 years at A&M, and he's calling the defensive signals from the sidelines. And he wanted to move them around and try to cause some confusion. That's what he did on that play, which resulted in the penalty.
And the player is now out of the game. Stan Thomas, he's the man that was guilty. And McWilliams quickly makes the change. It's 2nd and 16, Jones in motion. And they come back the other way with misdirection, and Tubbs is captured by William Thomas of Texas A&M. Number 11, the first to get there. He's had an outstanding year for the Aggies.
What you can't do is run a lot of counters against A&M. They are so quick. Tubbs is not a counter-type running back. He needs to go straight ahead. And these big old linemen don't pull very well. And one reason, of course, is the penetration of A&M. When you come up the field, you don't have much room in order for the lineman to pull or for a big back to try to find some daylight.
He was a free safety and then a strong safety before being moved to linebacker. So he's been around back there. 3rd down and 18.
Here they come again.
And he rolls right into the pressure. Aaron Wallace, the lone remaining blitz brother.
There are very few teams in the country that when they want to come, they can come any faster than this. With Wallace on the corner, look at this guy move.
He carried Cunningham right into it.
Well, once you get that kind of a start, he just went right through it.
Shane Garrett is back deep, and the punt from Lultadal will be taken by Shane with a fair catch called at the 11-yard line. An entertaining first quarter and a half here in the Lone Star State. ESPN's College Football Saturday, Texas versus Texas A&M, is brought to you by the exciting, innovative, unconventional new spirit of Dodge, by Ream Water Heaters, the #1 choice of plumbing professionals, and by Budweiser, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. I'm Tim Brando with Vince Dooley. A jam-packed crowd in College Station again. It's 1st and 10, A&M just outside their 10-yard line against Texas. 11:19 remaining here in the second quarter. We're tied at 7. McAfee bouncing off a couple of would-be tacklers and dragged down up at the 14. Stanley Richard, number 18, the free safety, the junior from Amarillo, coming up again in run support to make the stop for Texas. There you see some other scores in college football. The most recent news, Auburn with yet 3 more points, spoiling Alabama's national championship hopes, and apparently tying the Southeastern Conference between 3 schools, Tennessee, Auburn, and Alabama, if that score holds up. On 2nd and 7, Pavlis is down, and so is the football. It appears the Aggies are on top of it.
This Hackenmack is having one fine football game.
Robert Wilson got the fumble.
And he is a load. Let's look at Hackenmack. Here he goes. He's running right on by, using those hands, and when he hits you from the backside and using those arms, he just jerks the ball out of there. A&M was forcing it there.
By the way, SMU, a 42.5-point underdog, now trails by 2 touchdowns to Arkansas. And that game very significant here in the Southwest Conference. They flare it out to Wilson. A good cutback and some power. A first down, Aggies. Lance Gunn absorbed that hit, but does get credit for the tackle.
Wilson is an excellent back. He can do everything out of the backfield. He catches the ball. And Jones out there on top of him is not a very good open field tackler. He's got to have things up inside in order to be a great inside linebacker, but he can't tackle in the open field very well.
Play fake by Pavlis, and he's looking on the sprint out action for Jones. First down, Texas A&M at the 38-yard line. Other scores that we need to update you on, as we mentioned, SMU and Arkansas. It's now a final. The Hogs have won it, thereby clinching the Cotton Bowl and the undeniable Southwest Conference Championship. But again, what a performance by SMU to even make it as close as they did, leading early in the 4th quarter.
gallant effort, and I'm sure that probably everybody in the country was admiring that. I don't know that they were exactly pulling for him, but you can't help but be proud of SMU and that gallant effort.
Forrest Gregg, a coach that didn't worry about wins and losses when he took the job at his alma mater. 1st and 10. Wilson, the first back through, popping it up to the 42-yard line.
Now A&M is being able to mix their plays real well. They're coming out on 1st down with play action passes, which they did just there. And Wilson hits up in there real well, but this guy Hackemack really is interesting. Watch this. He's extremely quick. He's running around Keith Alex, number 67, and he's giving him a pretty good day right now.
2nd and 5. The lone setback is Wilson, and he gets it up to near the 44-yard line. Again, Ken Hackemack in on the pile, number 68 from Belleville, Texas. Now, the change in defensive schemes has really helped Hackemack. Leon Fuller coming over from Colorado State.
Well, he's lined up on and he's really attacked him. You got to block him low. You can't block him high. And Alex tried to right then, but he is a load.
Part of the changes in this Texas staff from a year ago, Leon Fuller, the former head coach at Colorado State, now the defensive coordinator, and Lynn Amity, who of course has been just about everywhere in the South, now at Texas, formerly at Texas A&M. Pavlis finds Percy Waddle. 1st down at the 38-yard line of the Horns. Brady Cavness runs him down.
Tim, I believe Pavlis has recovered from the bad play against Arkansas with the interception that really bothered him all week. He has been really cool. Here's Waddle coming back inside, and he's wide open because of the blitz. And Texas did not play very tight in the secondary in using the linebacker blitz, which normally you do when you blitz your linebackers.
1st and 10. McAfee. And we have apparently a fumble. The Horns are signaling they've got it. And they do. Oscar Giles, number 95, got the fumble. They strip him late. It comes out, and Stanley Richard, along with number 95, Ken Hackemack, and Oscar Giles finally got credit for the recovery. So the ball now at the 35-yard line of Texas. Stopping a fine drive for the Aggies. Forbes looking for Jones. He's got him. Out of bounds at the 39-yard line of Texas A&M. Well, they finally hook up with Jones, and they've wanted him all day, Vince.
Tony Jones has been a tremendous receiver all year long, and he's been hurt this year. This is the first time that he's well. He's an amazing little fella, and I say little, he's 140 pounds, 5'7", and he is quick. In fact, Lynn Amity said he's quick as a hiccup, and that is quick.
There he is. Caught that touchdown against Arkansas on the final play a couple of years ago. Winfred Tubbs down to the 35-yard line. Tubbs already a key factor in this football game. A player that did not start, actually listed 3rd on the depth chart at the beginning of the week.
If you're going to run Tubbs, you need to run him on the pitch sweep, or you need to run him quick inside or a little delay, but no kind of counter. Anybody that big needs to go ahead and get his momentum going. A counter play prevents that from happening.
2nd and 7. Bevo looks on. He's the deep back.
Almost like Tubbs.
Here he comes, and he's down to the 32-yard line, running into a bevy of Aggies. Number 97, Jeroy Robinson, already involved in 5 tackles this afternoon, making that one.
Well, this is Robinson's kind of game. He is the strongest player on A&M's team, and matched up against Tubbs, that's a good matchup, those two guys.
Winfred Tubbs has already rushed for 100 yards.
I believe you could actually run Tubbs twice and he'd make the 1st down.
The Aggie faithful becoming the vaunted 12th men. But the fans from Austin are hooking them.
Oh, they're going to try play action.
Forbes needs help, gets it from Cash. Keith Cash, the twin brother of Kerry Cash, the tight end. Keith plays that flanker position. He makes the grab for the first down.
Now, Forbes has got the speed, so he faked the ball to Tubbs, and now he's got that speed to get outside of containment. Does a good job of looking downfield and finding the other twin, Keith Cash, for the first down.
The ball at the 21-yard line of the Aggies. First and 10. Forbes already 4 out of 7, but he does have the 2 picks, his first 2 passes today.
Whoa!
Nothing doing for Tubbs. He doesn't have 100 yards anymore. They back him up. Aaron Wallace coming through, the senior from Dallas, Texas. They say about him, Vince, it's his first step that makes him so special, Aaron Wallace.
He can come in a hurry, that's for sure, and somebody missed here. There's Price coming back inside. Look at that tackle by Price. He is one fine defensive lineman and will go very, very high, if not in the first round.
Yeah, they're anticipating that he would be a first-round selection. Mel Kiper, our NFL draft expert, has so chose him as one of the top guys. And the ball down to the 15-yard line. Again, number 1, Johnny Walker on the receiving end. Derek Frazier making the stop for Texas A&M. The ball at the 14-yard line is where they spot it. Frazier, of course, made the touchdown saving tackle of that 74-yard haul made by Winford Tubbs in the first quarter.
Well, let's see if they come out with Forbes again on the corner running. We've got about 4 yards in here. And once again, they may use Tubbs the fullback.
He's the lone setback now. Quick drop, and they look for Jones, incomplete.
Well, they'll take the field goal, of course.
And with Wayne Clements, why not? A 5th-year senior who has done an outstanding job for David McWilliams. And that turnover by Texas A&M costly, because the Aggies, if they get 3 out of it, were certainly on their way to a touchdown before giving up the football.
Clements has kicked 60 field goals in his career, which is 14th in the NCAA. Now has 61.
The Tulane transfer has been a find with that left foot in the state of Texas. It's a 10-7 Longhorn lead. Today's student of the game is brought to you by the Hartford, the insurance people of ITT. And today we recognize Lance Pavlis, the fine quarterback of the Aggies of Texas A&M, 3.22 in sociology. Well, he's getting a lesson in sociology in this rivalry.
Well,
between Texas and Texas A&M.
They were really worried about him after that interception of a week ago against Arkansas, but he'd had a tough week of practice. But Bob Toledo, in fact, the coordinator, was telling me that he's had a tough week. But he's that type of kid. He's very conscientious, wanting to do right. And a lot of times when you're the quarterback, you feel the burden. I mean, it's all you. You're the one that makes the decisions. You're the hero sometime, and you can really be the otherwise.
He's also a nominee for the COSIDA Academic All-American Team. Of course, COSIDA, a group made up of sports information directors throughout the course of intercollegiate athletics. And here's the kick. Again, a bit of a pooch kick coming down to Cornelius Peterson at the 15.
Got some room.
Lost his balance. In fact, I think was trying to redirect some of his offensive linemen and lost his footing just shy of the 40-yard line, and that's where the Aggies take over, 1st and 10. He's asking Horton for some help, and he gets it.
So he gets right under him and blocks him, but got on top of him. Just an excellent return. I thought he was going to break it there for a second.
Ran into one of his own would-be blockers and went down at the 38, 1st and 10. And it's a play fake.
Look out.
Pavlis is down back at the 33-yard line. He wanted Percy Waddle deep, Vince, but he was well covered by the Longhorns, and that was a nice play fake.
Well, he held the ball in a little bit too long and back long enough to let Shane Dronette, the freshman, run all the way around and come back from the backside. We'll see Dronette here. He runs past a quarterback, Pavlis. Now he comes back from the backside, and usually a quarterback doesn't get pressure from the backside. You get it from the side, but not directly behind you.
Shane Garrett in motion on 2nd and 15. Pavlis. That's Jones. Up to the 38-yard line. And let's get back to our college football studios. Bob Carpenter.
All right, Tim, that's Crimson Tide still alive in the 4th quarter with just under 8 minutes left from the 15. Gary Hollingsworth rolling right and hitting Marco Ballo for the touchdown that makes it 27-17. One note, after the kickoff, Auburn had to start from its own 12.
So it's not over down there on the plains.
Oh, it'll go down to the wire because Alabama can throw the ball. They'll come back in a hurry on it.
Pavlis looks for some help from Jones again. They'll rule it a catch at the Texas 49-yard line. Good job of ad-libbing by number 12, and Jones coming back to his quarterback, Vince.
Pavlis has just done a superb job. The offensive line is blocking well. They ran on by, and he steps back up, and then as he goes, he's looking downfield and finally finds Jones right on the corner. Excellent play by Pavlis.
1st and 10. 2:34 remaining until halftime. Bob Carpenter will update you on all the other action at the intermission. Pavlis.
Oh.
Right into the hands of Mark Berry. Pass overthrown. Berry had his chance.
Garrett, their receiver, and there's Pavlis throwing, and he got hit. But it's too high. He really threw the ball too high. It should have been an interception by Berry, and let's see what Pavlis says. Yeah, he doesn't. He's hurting right now.
2nd and 10.
Linebackers look like they're coming, Tim. They're faking it. They are.
Quick drop in the pass. Caught by Gary Oliver down to the Texas 38-yard line. That's near yet another 1st down.
Pavlis read what he thought was the blitz and then checked off on a sight adjustment and quickly lined the ball out there expecting the blitz, and that's why he threw it in a hurry. But again, Texas was faking the blitz, and that's what defenses do, and do it very, very well today as opposed to several years ago, I might add.
It is a 1st down. Mike Arthur with the gloves on in this 50-degree temperature that we have today at center for the Aggies. Play fake. Incomplete, intended for Percy Waddle. He was out of the field of play. The coverage by Grady Cavness had the Aggie wide receiver off the playing field. They had an opportunity to come back into the playing field to make the grab.
A member of the University Police Department at the first end zone, first aid room for emergency rescue. Nancy Holliday, a member of the University Police Department at the first end zone.
Pavlis, who shared time with Chris Osgood a year ago when Jackie Sherrill was here, was told by R.C. Slocum, "You're my guy. Don't worry about it. You're the starting quarterback." And that's helped him this year. It's caught by Gary. Or I beg your pardon, Waddle. And Percy's down. Injured. He got hit in the small of the back.
He really got hit, but Pavlis, again, just threw the ball right on the button. Waddle goes up, and you put yourself in a position, wow, he got hit right here when he hit the ground. That's what was bad.
1:55 remaining. We'll check on Percy Waddle's status when we come back.
Watch Waddle right here. He goes way up, and Cavness really puts one on him, but where he gets hurt is when he comes down and hits that turf, and that turf is tough. Waddle, who is just a freshman, he's just one of several great defensive backs that Texas has, made the play.
And he absorbed it from that man, Cavness, number 21. 1st and 10. Pavlis. And another huge hit as Oliver makes the grab at the 9, and again it's Cavness laying the leather.
Kevin, this is one of the most sought-after players in Texas, and he comes up and makes a nice play. He's just a little bit off of the receiver. Needs to be on him a little bit tighter, particularly when you're around the goal line. That was a heck of a hit there. But he was giving him too much room, and that comes from inexperience. When you get down on the goal line, you don't have room. You got to play him tight.
First and goal on the 8. Jones on the blitz. Back at the 20. They will mark him down at the 16-yard line. Brian Jones was coming with everything. We have another timeout called. 1:32 remaining. Oh, it's been an outstanding game thus far.
The middle linebacker, Jones, really accelerated, ran right by the center Arthur and right on Pavlis in a hurry.
And then Pavlis gets right back in his face. That's Oscar Giles that he ran into once he got up. He was upset about that. He needed some help, wanted someone to pick up that linebacker. And remember, it was fear of not picking up a blitz that caused Pavlis' interception last week against Arkansas. Second and goal.
They're crowding the man to the wide side of the field, the top of your screen. They go.
And he's nailed again. Lance Gunn, the strong safety, coming this time from the backside. And Pavlis is really upset.
He's upset because he knew that he should have gotten rid of the ball. You can't hold the ball that long. He looked him off. Now he's going to turn to his right, which he did, and he just held it. You got to go ahead and get rid of the football. Tremendous backside pressure from Gunn. Now watch him look off. Now he needs to turn quickly to his right, which he did, and he's got to put the ball up. Even if he throws it out in the end zone, he doesn't want to take the sack down here.
See what happened last week in the Arkansas game, and the coaches talked about it with us, Vince. Lance Gunn, of course, making that hit, that freshman safety that we've told you about. What happened in that particular play against the wind, Pavlis, they say, was attempting to throw the ball out of bounds, but the ball sailed on him, and they got the interception, the Hogs did, and that, of course, pulled the Arkansas team away.
Well, he was completely off balance in that situation. This situation, he had his balance, he had his feet under him, and he should have just gone ahead and thrown it.
A Railback halftime report with Bob Carpenter. Highlights of today's action. A live Bobby Bowden interview. He'll be taking on the Gators in our prime time offering. Jones in double coverage. The fans want interference, but they don't get it. Stanley Richard involved in the coverage of the free safety. But Jones is a tight end that you figured they might have used a little earlier in this series.
They've hit him down the middle before. I thought Richard sort of had his hands on him a time or two, pushed him just a little bit early. But that ball certainly was not catchable.
And that's a judgment call for the officials. Lane Talbot now to try a 41-yard field goal, and it is no good. And the celebration is on for the Burnt Orange. Lance Pavlis perhaps remembering what happened a week ago, and Lane Talbot also having to remember this.
Well, he missed it. There's no question about that. And from the very beginning, I think he knew that he missed it. To the right.
And so did the Horns defensively. First down and 10, 1:10 remaining in the first half. Nothing doing for Winfred Tubbs. And it's apparent that Texas is satisfied with their three-point advantage, and why not? They just shut down the Longhorns, who had a first and goal inside the 10-yard line, moving them backwards, forcing the missed field goal try.
Well, this would be a good way to go in at halftime and let the clock run.
Remember this, Donovan Forbes recovering from 2 interceptions, his first 2 passes, and yet here sit his Longhorns with a 3-point lead before the intermission. Tubbs undercut by Anthony Williams, the sophomore from Waco, Texas. 6'2", 223-pounder.
Anthony Williams has been an impact player, and he has made a lot of big plays this year. Watch him come on this play on Tubbs. And I mean, he comes and gets under him, which is where you want to tackle the big guy. You need to get under his shoulder pads.
Right now, the Texas Longhorns have a 3-point edge, trying to end a streak that has spanned 6 years. It cost one head coach his job, Freddie Akers, and it has forced an evaluation period of David McWilliams' program. But they're thinking that they're going to turn it around with a victory today. And the Aggies will have to reload its arsenal at halftime. It's 10-7 Texas. Let's get back to our college football studios now. And Bob Carpenter. Bob. Thank you, Bob. Texas leading Texas A&M by a score of 10-7 at halftime. A very entertaining game, though, of course, not a Cotton Bowl at stake, which has been, of course, the case the past few years with the Aggies getting their fair share. Today, of course, bragging rights in the Lone Star State where they love their college football. And so far today, we've had a little bit of everything. 2 passes intercepted against Donovan Forbes. In fact, his first 2 passes thrown, a blocked punt, interceptions as well as fumbles throughout the course of this game. A long run by a freshman to set up a touchdown. And statistically, we look at the game, and Vince, you see 20 yards rushing for the Aggies. Well, they actually have more than that, but 3 sacks absorbed by Pavlis and cost them 48 yards in rushing, and that's the reason why after 20 rushes they have only 20 yards.
Well, and most of those sacks were critical right before halftime when A&M was in great position, first down on the 7-yard line to score, and there were 2 big sacks that caused that. Now, the big play of the day started off early when Winford Tubbs, the big guy, at 245 pounds, and here's Horton trying to arm tackle him, and you can't arm tackle him. And once he rambles, he can ramble, but any guy that's 250 pounds and 6'5", he's going to eventually get caught, and he finally does by the freshman Frazier.
And that led, of course, to the touchdown for the Longhorns by Chris Samuels, number 23, piercing through on the left-hand side of your screen.
Running behind Cunningham, their left tackle, and they like to go behind him. He's 6'8", 290.
So that made it 7-0 in the first quarter. Again, after 3 turnovers in the game that really brought forth no points for either club. But if you're looking for a turning point in this game, it would be going in before halftime. The Aggies first and goal, and look at this.
And that's a sack on the quarterback, Pavlis, by Jones, number 60. And then on the same play, Pavlis is back. He's trying to get rid of the ball. He looks at the receiver off, the defender, and then turns right, but holds the ball too long. And the backside, the strong safety, Lance Gunn, number 16, hits him. And then that forces a field goal, which they missed.
2 of the 3 sacks that brought forth the 20 yards rushing we saw in that one series alone. And that's the difference in the football game. At least 3 would have been scored by the Aggies, you figure. They would later have that field goal from a much farther distance, 41 yards, that would go wide to the right. The Longhorns will kick off to open the second half. Wayne Clemens to Cornelius Peterson at his 4, and Patterson is nailed at the 13. Number 31 for Texas, Jeff Higgins, our reserve linebacker, levels him at the 13-yard line. The possession chart for Texas A&M. Very quickly they got the ball after that interception and then fumbled it right back to the Longhorns. Then 3 plays and out, 3 plays and out. Then the 67-yard touchdown drive to tie the game, followed by a 53-yard drive that led to a fumble that would eventually lead to Texas's field goal that gave them the 3-point edge. Oh, back to the 5-yard line. Randy Simmons, number 33, in the game for the first time at halfback, the sophomore from McKinney, Texas.
And he got christened by Hackenback, who has had one whale of a football game. This is by far his best football game at 6'10", 305, and he has been all over the field for a big guy.
Well, I haven't seen as many plays, Vince, where forward progress was stopped 5 yards from where the kid wound up being tackled, as we've seen today. They mark it at the 8. It's 2nd and 15.
Oh.
Pavlis intercepted.
Tremendous interception by Richard.
Stanley Richard. Pavlis has been shook since the last drive in the first half. Make no mistake about it.
Well, he threw the ball well here, but Richard, number 18, Stanley Richard, the safety man, broke right in front, made an excellent reception of the football. They're trying to throw to Jones, number 82. An excellent play by Richard.
You're right, it was a crisp pass, but right into triple coverage. Now the Aggies on their feet, waving that Aggie towel. And Tubbs is ushered out of bounds by Anthony Williams, number 48. The sophomore from Waco, Texas. And the possession chart for Texas. Remember, just a few plays into the game, Forbes throws his first interception. Next series, throws his second interception. And then they go 3 plays and out. The 80-yard drive, that was where the 74-yard run by Tubbs came into play. And then the 50-yard drive for the field goal. And then they ran out the clock at the end of the first half. 2nd and 9. Forbes to Jones. Wait. He was there. The pass thrown a bit late, and Jones simply ran out of terrain.
Forbes was under a lot of pressure and got rid of the ball well, but he just threw it too long. Jones had him beat, and if Forbes hadn't thrown the ball so long, it would have been a touchdown.
You have to give Forbes a lot of credit. Pavlis now talking with Bob Toledo, going through perhaps what Forbes did in the first quarter, but Forbes rebounded, Vince.
Well, that's why he's a 5th-year senior. It didn't bother him that he threw the first 2 for an interception.
3rd and 9.
They're going to come again.
Cash the H-back. Here they come. Forbes with that mobility. Finally nailed at the 18-yard line by Anthony Williams again.
Boy, they can run. Texas A&M is as quick defensively as any team I've seen. There's no way that you can block that many people when they come. You don't have enough people up there to block. They're bringing everybody. And that has somebody sprung loose. And there's the first one loose. And then you're going to see Williams right there, number 48, make the tackle. And this guy can run. He's been an outstanding player.
Clemens from 35 yards out. Slight angle. Bobby Lidgedall, the punter, will hold. Oh, he knuckleballed it and missed. A rare miss for Wayne Clemens. And Bob Davie, the defensive coordinator, the first man you saw there, was leading the cheering section on the Texas A&M sideline.
An official timeout.
13-18 remaining.
Here it is. He just hit it too high. Clemens hit the ball too high, and when you do that, it didn't get it up in it. It's a miracle he didn't get it blocked.
So the Aggies respond defensively, and they're trailing by 3. ESPN's College Football Saturday, Texas versus Texas A&M, is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Wheaties. The natural goodness of 100% whole grain makes Wheaties the breakfast of champions. With Vince Dooley, I'm Tim Brando. Texas A&M, after the turnover, responds defensively to shut down the Longhorns. We're just underway, 3rd quarter. And they go with Randy Simmons again, the sophomore running back, getting playing time here in the 2nd half.
Well, it seems to be the same old story. Hackamack. Let's see him get out of this one. There's that big guy. He's holding the blocks and then turns and makes the tackle. If you get under that guy too low, he'll get off of you. You got to get him real low and then get away from him. Covers a lot of territory.
2nd down and 8 after the pickup of 2 for Simmons. And they give it to Randy again.
Nice run.
Look at him carry Stanley Richard up to the 29-yard line. Richard made that interception a few moments ago that turned into nothing. Texas defense against some good teams this year. They've done a fine job against runners like Bieniemy, Blair Thomas, James Rouse. You hold those guys under 100 yards, Thomas and Rouse, you've done a pretty good job. Their defense against the run quite good.
They have been excellent against the rush, and they have been excellent today against the rush.
3rd down and 1. And Hackamack filters through there a bit too quickly. Was he drawn? It appears as though Texas and Hackamack were guilty this time.
Hackamack is a lot quicker than I thought he was.
Offside. Defense. First down.
He is a big guy, but I didn't know he was quite that quick, quite frankly, Tim. But boy, the way he came, even though he was offsides, that was a quick offside.
You're looking at some tennis scores. Patrick Ewing named NBA Player of the Month, and scores from college basketball. And don't forget, we'll update you on SportsCenter tonight immediately following our prime time game as Percy Waddle comes up with that grab for Texas A&M.
2nd and 5.
2nd and 5 coming up after the 5-yard pickup. College basketball just around the corner in a big way on ESPN. We've already gotten the season started. The Big East ACC Challenge coming up this week. And there goes off the left side Randy Simmons again. Well, we knew we would see him, Coach. Stanley Richard making the stop. But boy, are we seeing him in a hurry here in the second half. We didn't see him at all in the first 30 minutes.
Randy Simmons is big and he's fast. He's one of the most recruited players. Here's Hackamack. Gets off the block. They got under him a little bit. Now, you got to get low on Hackamack, and if you do that, you can block him. But you need for the runner to run away from him. Don't come in there too close.
1st and 10. Look at that pop and listen to that pop as Simmons goes down again, and a marker down. A late flag because of a late hit. An error in judgment by the Longhorns. Remember, this game began as you see Wilson, the guilty party, number 69, who came in there late for the Longhorns. We had a fight to open this game. Lloyd Dale giving us the indication.
Gets hit here by number 69, who really hits him hard. Lance Wilson, the defensive tackle, and it's just a very poor play by Wilson.
You see the penalty yardage all against the Horns. A&M playing perfectly, or at least legally perfectly. Play fake, Pavlis. Pass with some zip behind Waddle, and let's quickly get to Bob Carpenter.
All right, Tim Brando, thank you very much. And we take a brief respite from the Southwest Conference to find that our Heisman winner plays in the Southwest Conference. Moments ago, Andre Ware of Houston won the award. The only thing he didn't do today was to fall one pass short, a touchdown pass short of Jim McMahon's all-time record. But a fantastic season for the Houston quarterback. Andre Ware wins the Heisman.
First time it's ever happened to a team on NCAA probation. Thank you, Bob. Down to the 37-yard line goes Randy Simmons again. And Hackamack making the stop. Vince, I'd like to get your comment, your thought, as we take a look at this briefly first.
Well, this has been a Hackamack show on defense. He gets down. His body position is good. They tried to trip him, but he's got that long reach at 6'10", which enables him to make some plays that normally a shorter defensive lineman couldn't do. What a game he's had.
3rd and 5. Caught. Catch. Percy Waddle.
What a catch by Waddle. Let's see. Pavlis was under a lot of pressure, and Waddle comes in. Watch this pass. It's a little low. Watch that one arm. Puts it back in. Just a tremendous play by Percy Waddle. There's the pressure he's under. Curl really hits him hard, and Pavlis does a great job of staying in there and delivering the football, and an excellent catch by Waddle.
Tony Curl out of Houston, Texas, polishing him off. Don't ever doubt that they won't hit one another in this rivalry. Simmons nailed by Tommy Jeter, number 99, the sophomore from Deer Park, Texas.
Well, he's given Hackamack a rest, and he ought to give him one. There's Hackamack. He deserves a rest. He has had one football game, one great football game.
Vince, I want to know your comment about Andre Ware winning the Heisman Award and winning it on a team on NCAA probation.
Well, statistically, I don't think there's any question he should have won it. But on the other hand, while it's an individual award, there is the concern that the school gets a lot of credit for that, and that does concern me a little bit.
Pavlis in trouble again. Oscar Giles, number 95, coming back over to make the stop of Lance Pavlis.
He's under a lot of pressure. Here's that catch by Waddle. Watch this one-hand snag. Joggles it just a little bit, and brings it in. What a tremendous play by Waddle.
If the Aggies go in and score here, they'll thank Percy Waddle for that grab. And remember, Texas had that chance off the interception and came up empty to open this third quarter. Pavlis fumbles it. And the Longhorns have it. Oscar Giles.
Time after time, the rush of Texas has really made the difference. They had a twist on. And look at the pressure here by Jeter. And also, Dronette is in there, and then the ball is just knocked out, and Giles, number 95, makes the reception.
Another turnover, but will points come from them? Stay with us.
Watch number 99, Jeter, on the nose of the center. And on the snap of the ball, he has a twist. In fact, he twists out of the screen. Then you'll see him come back in the screen on the left, and he'll hit Pavlis. And watch his left arm wrap around and knock the ball out. But when a quarterback is sacked like that, he's got to bring the ball in and protect it, and he was waving it out a little bit too much. What a great play by number 99, Tommy Jeter.
And it appears, Vince, that Pavlis is so concerned about that oncoming rush, whether it now be the linebackers or the down linemen. And it all stems from the mistake made against Arkansas. You have to point back to that in the case of Lance Pavlis. 1st and 10. Ball at the 44-yard line. And Tubbs past the 45 to the 46, maybe the 47. And again, Jeroy Robinson and Miller in on the stop as they collaborate. A pickup of a couple. We'll call it 2nd down and 7 coming up.
Good penetration by Miller, and again, you're going to have to get Tubbs. If you hit him in the backfield, it's awfully difficult for a big back. But if you get a big back and let him get started, that's when he's really tough.
Johnny Walker and Tony Jones are set to one side of the field, but they come back off tackle with number 44 Winfred Tubbs again.
And Miller once again gets some penetration.
There's Jeter, number 99, who forced that turnover. Tommy Jeter from Deer Park, the sophomore, and he opened the door for Oscar Giles' recovery out of Palacios, Texas.
The big question here is, which has been the story all day, what are you going to do about the turnover? Are you going to take advantage of it? Very often has that happened all day long.
You're absolutely right. I don't recall a game where as few points were scored off turnovers as this one. Out of bounds at the 45-yard line with the 1st down is the tight end, Kerry Cash, who, as we mentioned at the top of the telecast, is playing more of the H-back or wing-back role in today's game with this new offense constructed for Forbes by Lynn Amity, the Longhorn offensive coordinator.
Good job by Forbes of coming out and finding Tubbs, or rather Cash, for the 1st down. And I think Forbes has really done a spectacular job today in leading Texas.
Counter. Winfred Tubbs inside the 40 down to the 39-yard line. Aaron Wallace making the stop.
I can't say enough about this guy and the power. Once he gets a head of steam up, it is tough to tackle him. He's going to go forward. You'll never stop him without him going for that extra 2 or 3 yards. Just at 6'5", he'll fall for an extra yard.
They tried him at tight end, but you can understand with those numbers why he's playing the running back spot, the fullback location in that one-back offense today. 2nd and 5. There he goes.
Got a head of steam.
Now we're seeing the coming out party of Winfred Tubbs. I'm sure fans back in Austin are saying, where has he been?
Well, when you get Tubbs a little running room in the left side, of the line gave him some running room. When he gets that motor going, he is tough. Excellent blocking in there by Cunningham and Miller and McFarland in the center. And that's what really makes him a good blocker. See, he got a good head of steam going and got a good blocker, number 53.
Oh, when you're 6'5" and 240, you can really help those big guys that love to hunker down. He feels good about it. That's Hackamack on the sidelines, the defensive Jim. Don't forget, coming up later tonight, our CFA doubleheader will continue as Florida State takes on Florida. Should be a good one. Ron Franklin and Kevin Kiley to bring it to you at 7:30 Eastern Time. That will follow our college football scoreboard show with Bob Carpenter. And, of course, they'll update you and bring you live reports and comments from New York, the downtown athletic club where Andre Ware has officially won the Heisman Award.
Here we got a hook 'em horn and a gig 'em. First of all, there was a hook 'em horn, and now we got all those Texas A&M Aggie gig-ems in here.
Thumbs up is gig 'em, folks. That's the translation. Well, these teams have had some outstanding games in the past. In '83, Rich McIver would go 33 yards to Kelvin Epps to give the Longhorns a 31-13 lead, and the Horns went on to win it 45-13. Freddie Akers won the Southwest Conference with a perfect 8-0 season that year. He went to the Cotton Bowl and played who? Another yard for Winfred Tubbs. That was a national championship possibility that Freddie Akers had, and I think you had a young quarterback by the name of Lastinger that year that played for the Georgia Bulldogs.
Championship, but what a great win for Georgia. And John Lastinger, you're right. Right in the last minute of the ball game, he runs 23 yards for the touchdown, and Kevin Butler kicks, and we win 10-9.
2nd and 9, 5:18 remaining, and Tubbs has really become the workhorse. Forbes looking for Walker. Incomplete. Into triple coverage, but Johnny Walker had a chance. They say he should be all Southwest Conference. He's had that kind of year, though his team is 5-5.
Had a great year. And Forbes did a splendid job here of getting the ball down there, and he did throw it up. But Walker, who is an excellent receiver, goes up, and let's see if somebody tips that ball. I think he did just get his hands on it. Number 26, Kevin Smith, who is really an excellent player. Right here, he did. He got his hands on it, or otherwise Walker would have made that catch.
3rd and 9. There's Johnny lined up. And it's a checkoff now for Forbes. He audibilizes. Here comes the rush. They pick up Williams, and it's incomplete, intended for Kerry Cash. And there's no question he made the right decision checking off into that pass pattern.
They came in a hurry, and he's a little mad at himself for overthrowing it. Did a good job. He read the blitz. He's been around a long time, this guy. 5 years under 4 offensive coordinators.
That could confuse a lot of people. Now Clements, who missed his last try, will this time go for a 48-yarder. He hit from 31. This time, he apparently hooked it. 7 turnovers that have led to 3 points in today's game. That will make both coaches unhappy.
All right, here's Clements, who misses his second one. And again, Texas fails to take advantage of a miscue. The ball is wide. He hit it again right in the middle and hooked it. And I know he's disgusted because he's had a tremendous career here in his last game. They kicked the ball so poorly. And again, Texas takes no advantage of the opportunity.
He has a career to think about this one. And there goes Simmons. That's a Texas A&M first down. 12 yards on the pickup. Talk about miscues. Texas A&M fumbles, but they give up nothing. They fumble, they give up 3. Then an interception for nothing, a fumble, and the Longhorns not taking advantage. And this is the reason teams finish 5-6 or 6-5 rather than 8-3 or 9-2.
Texas has had many opportunities today to win this football game. but it really has not taken advantage of those opportunities, fumbles, and interceptions.
They lead by 3, 10-7. Quick pitch to Wilson, who cuts back and goes past the 45 to the 47-yard line.
The right tackle, Matt McCall, number 77, the big one from Lufkin, Texas, 6'8", 315, has made 2 excellent blocks in a row. And that's where they've run the football.
2nd and 5. There's big Matt McCall.
USS McCall, they call him.
A PT boat for a shoe. Wilson past the 45 down to the 44-yard line. Stanley Richard, the junior from Amarillo, who's had a feast back there making tackles today for the Longhorns.
Well, this time they run over to the left tackle, big Webb, number 56. And what an excellent run by Wilson, number 20. Their offensive line is really huge.
3:41 and counting here in the 3rd quarter, and they pitch it to Simmons again, and Richard nails him.
Once again, the left tackle, Richmond Webb, number 56, just a tremendous job. First of all, the first guy you got to block is Hackamack, who's had just a superb day, and they block him. The center gets an excellent block on him, and then Webb makes a great block. And then there's plenty of running room for Wilson as they move the football on the ground.
2nd and 4. That's Patterson in motion. Wilson runs right into the awaiting arms of Brian Jones, the middle linebacker, who was coming inside on that play.
Brian Jones is just learning how to be a middle linebacker in the 4-3 defense. He is, as you mentioned earlier, from UCLA, and he was a 50 linebacker. And there's a lot of difference between a 50 linebacker, and in this case, we have a 4-3 middle linebacker.
And he's wearing number 60, Vince.
Boy, what a proud number that is.
Worn by Tommy Nobis, among many others at Texas. It's the equivalent of having your jersey retired, but keeping it in line at Texas. And Jones is nailed by Richard again. Mike Jones is still on the turf, shaking the cobwebs.
Well, Richard hit him hard, but I think Jones dropped the ball before Richard got there.
I think he felt him, too.
Yeah, he paid his respects to him. Here's Pavlis under good pressure. He's been under pressure all day. He holds that ball a little long, but here's the pass right there. He drops it and then relaxes, and then Stanley Richard put the tap on him.
It's 4th down and 5. And the question now for R.C. Slocum is whether to bring in Sean Wilson, which apparently he is, or try the long field goal. They want to push Texas deep into their own territory and try to play field position football. They'll take the flag and move it back 5 yards for delay of game, but that's not a problem. Really enjoyed our conversation with R.C. Slocum, John David Crow.
Delay of game, offense, 4th down.
We were on an airplane flying with R.C. along with John David Crow, the athletic director here, past Heisman winner in 1957, going to Houston to that touchdown club gathering that included the Texas coaches. Really a fine opportunity for us to meet and get to know R.C. Slocum very well. Nice man.
Well, I've known R.C. and he is a good person. You really get the feeling that the situation is in good hands with R.C. Slocum and with John David Crow, who has been the assistant athletic director here.
There's John David out of Spring Hill, Louisiana. He barely made All-State in Louisiana because the big newspapers were all down in the southern part of the state. There was some serious lobbying, I know, because my father was one of the sports writers that had to lobby for John David Crow, and then he went on to be the only Heisman winner Bear Bryant would have. And now R.C. Slocum. You very rarely see teams promoted, coaches promoted from within after controversy swirls through a program.
Well, I think
it did here.
That's the testimony to R.C. Slocum and to John David Crow, because you're right. Usually if there's some problems, and they've certainly had some problems at A&M, you'd want to make a clean sweep. But in order to keep Slocum and to keep Crow, I think it's a great compliment to both of them.
The Texas Longhorns start at their 17-yard line, and the 12th men, being the fans this time, trying to become effective. And they oftentimes do. First and 10. Down goes Forbes. Aaron Wallace. That's his second sack of the day.
Aaron Wallace, who has had 7.5 sacks, and that's his 8th or 9th today, and a total of 39, is number 23. And he can accelerate almost from a standing position. He can take off, which he did, and went right by the blocker to make the tackle. He actually was holding on the line of scrimmage until he saw Forbes scramble.
The sack leader with 41, Aaron Wallace. Second and 18. Tubbs for a tough 3 or 4 yards. John Miller, number 96, the junior from Grand Saline, Texas, in to make the stop.
Gain of 3 yards on the play. Ball at the 13-yard line.
It'll be third down and 15 yards to go for Texas. And Forbes in a bit of a predicament. And the fans know it. The Aggie Rags are out in force.
They have come every time on long yardage. Let's see. It doesn't look like they're going to come now.
Forbes nearly picked off by Smith again. Kevin Smith nearly got a hand on it, and the rush this time coming from John Miller. And listen to the Aggie faithful. Home of the 12th man. The kickoff team made up of walk-ons, and I think the crowds here have taken on the role of the 12th man as well.
Well, right now they have, but you know, the 12th man on the kickoff team, all walk-ons, that was good a couple of years ago, but the rule has changed, and you might need to think about that a little more.
Liljadal with a nice punt, a marker down, and Shane Garrett dancing around and finally going down at his own 38-yard line.
Got a flag, and again, we've had some critical penalties.
Thrown at the very location that Liljadal booted the football. There you see again our head referee Lloyd Dale, our umpire Joe Darden, linesman James Wilson, line judge Roger Rogers, and John Bible, the field judge.
They're all coming back.
Well, we've seen the kicking game haunt Texas already today. Remember, they had too many men on the playing field when about to return a punt, and that kept an A&M drive alive that led to a touchdown. And it's taking some time to figure this one out. The officials still locked in conclave.
And you can't give any indication of what's happening because usually one side or the other starts jumping up and down, but neither side's jumping.
Holding. Offense. 4th down.
Oh, David McWilliams has to be really upset.
Well, we'll see on the right of your screen, number 16, Lance Gunn. He's out of your screen, but he seems to be holding as he comes back. And that brings them back further and makes them cover again, and it's difficult to cover 2 in a row. Usually you're tired after because it's a 40-yard sprint. Now you got to do it again.
He punts from his end zone, and Liljadal is an outstanding punter, but this one will roll out of bounds in Texas territory. Garrett was going to be stopped at his 38 had not that penalty occurred. Just a 40-yard punt by Liljadal, and the Aggies get better field position. Well, you be in position tomorrow for the NFL on ESPN, which all begins with game day. Chris Berman, Tom Jackson, Pete Axtell. Prime time with a complete review of all of the afternoon games leading up to the Bears and the Vikes in the black and blue division. Mike Patrick, Joe Theismann have called that one. You'll see Herschel Walker, among others, for the Vikings, and the Bears trying to get off the schneid. A disappointing loss a week ago to the Redskins at RFK. First and 10 for Texas A&M. 34 seconds remaining here in the third quarter. They trail by 3. Popping outside, Anthony Curl making the stop of David Grappella.
Anthony Curl's just a freshman, but he has been a big playmaker. He's second leading tackler. And made some nice play right there on number 20, Wilson.
And we're running out of time here in the third quarter. They may get one more play off. The wind has died down, so it's not as much of a factor as it was in the first half. They do get it off, and there's Percy Waddle wide open. Touchdown, Aggies! Vince, I really believe Texas relaxed. They thought the clock was going to run out and did not play defense.
I think Cadmus, the cornerback, and we'll have to see, relaxed and thought the clock was going to run out or that Pavlis was going to be sacked.
Isn't it amazing? That ball flew in the air much as the one that was intercepted by Arkansas last week. Only this one found the awaiting arms of Percy Waddle with no help from the Texas perimeter.
It's all right to throw that kind of a pass when there's nobody around. It's just when somebody's around you don't throw that kind. In fact, that was a great pass under the conditions. And we'll see it right here. We'll see what happens to Cadmus. He goes right on by him. Look at Cadmus, comes up, made a mistake, thought he was sacked, and he just hung the ball up. Just a tremendous play by Pavlis. There he is. I think he thinks he's sacked. Nice pump on the ball, and he is just wide open, and you're playing with a very young cornerback. He's a true freshman.
Lance Pavlis, nailed here, has nothing but joy.
He's looking downfield right now. He's worried about, thank you, thank you.
Yes, it's a holy day of obligation in College Station. Are reigning supreme right now on the last play, the last 1/10 of a second before the end of the third quarter. Percy Waddle and Lance Pavlis connect, and as the sun goes down in College Station, the Aggies take the lead. They're going to rule this a touchback.
You'll see the middle linebacker Jones gets bumped by the center right here, and I think the cornerback Cadmus thought that he was sacked and eased up on Waddle, who was wide open. And what a job Pavlis did of getting rid of the football. He just hung it up, which is all right to hang it up. Right here, you think he's sacked. Look at him, under pressure, gets rid of it, and watch him look downfield, and thank the Lord.
Oh, you bet.
Watch the happiness here.
1st and 10 now for the Horns, down suddenly, 14-10. As we start the fourth quarter, nothing doing for Tubbs. Anthony Williams made the stop. Two things happen, Vince, as you look at Grady Cavness there, as Peter Gardere is coming at quarterback. Cavness, I think the freshman, two things happened. There was a pump fake that I think he might have felt was a pass, and he was sacked. And time was literally running out. As the ball came to the line of scrimmage, I didn't feel that they'd get the play off in time. And you were really waiting for the officials to blow the whistle.
Well, Cavness is just a young freshman. Tremendous prospect. Got a great future. But when you play back there, it's going to happen to you. And unfortunately, it happened to him, for him, at a bad time.
So Peter Gardere, the freshman from Houston, now in at quarterback. And on 2nd and 9, Winford Tubbs up to the 25-yard line. As you look at some scores from college basketball, and ESPN's coverage of college basketball already underway in earnest. Fine game last night between North Carolina and Alabama. Kentucky losing today to Indiana, but a very close ball game. And of course, all the scores and happenings on our scoreboard show preceding Florida State and Florida, which is coming up at 7:30 Eastern time. 3rd down and 5 for the Horns. And a possession snap that means a great deal with Gardere in at quarterback for the first time. They pick up the blitz. Gardere in trouble, and Jeroy Robinson nails him, number 97.
Well, A&M can blitz with the very best of them, and they bring everybody. There's inside blitz, both the inside linebackers plus the outside. It's really an 8-man blitz. And Jeroy Robinson is sort of a spy. He started the blitz, and then just in case it broke down and the quarterback ran, he could play him like he did just then.
Lil Jadal punting it away. Fair catch called for and fumbled by Gary. At the 43-yard line, but apparently he's on top of it after the 34-yard punt by Lil Jadal. 12:50 remaining. The Aggies have it back, and they have the lead. ESPN's College Football Saturday, Texas versus Texas A&M, is brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. To arrange a thorough test drive, simply phone your nearest BMW dealer. By Mr. Goodrich. Mr. Goodrich knows it's not just a car, it's your freedom. And by Budweiser, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. Fourth quarter underway here in College Station, Texas. And the Aggie defenders, led by Bob Davie, the defensive coordinator, looking to keep the momentum as Pavlis and company take over offensively at the 42. That's Randy Simmons out to the 45-yard line. Shane Dronette made the stop and will look for the Aggies to run the ball a bit more in this series. Bob Toledo, the offensive coordinator, has had a great deal to do with the success of the Aggie offense throughout the course of this season. Formerly at Oregon under Rich Brooks, he really has taken over, and R.C. Slocum just gave him total responsibility, didn't he?
Well, he's one that can handle responsibility because he knows how to coach quarterbacks, and he's really put a lot of confidence back into Pavlis, who really needs some confidence, which has hurt him the last 2 years.
And a major adjustment today without a running back like Darren Lewis to get by and still move the football both on the ground and in the air as we have a marker down. Lloyd Dale will give us the call, apparently against A&M.
Dead ball. False start. Offense. Second down.
You talked about the quarterbacks, Vince. Think about this. He had Miller, who's now quarterbacking the Falcons. As you see Darren Lewis on the sidelines, he's not dressed for this game with that knee injury from last week. But Chris Miller was a quarterback at Oregon. Bill Musgrave, second leading passer in the Pac-10, headed to the Independence Bowl this year, all coached by Bob Toledo.
He's coached some great ones, and he was also, of course, the head coach at the Pacific.
That's Robert Wilson up to the 45-yard line. Shane Dronette made the stop. For those of you that are just joining us, Darren Lewis out of this game, and he was well on his way to a 1,000-yard season this year and could be one of the leading candidates for the Heisman Trophy next year. And whether Andre Ware's stats are what they are and his team's on probation or not, it's good for the Southwest Conference that the Heisman Trophy is back in this league. They've had their share of problems, and they're getting through those problems now, and Lewis will be a legitimate candidate next year. Third down and 7. They swing it out for Simmons, and it's incomplete. Dronette and Hackemak again pressuring. Hackemak has had a great game.
You've got to give a lot of credit to the Texas defense. They have played extremely well. Leon Fuller, who has been the head coach at Colorado State for 7 years, has come back home, so to speak, because this is where he was before he went to Colorado State as the head coach.
On 4th and 7, Sean Wilson with a nice punt, and it gets a roll that will keep Texas at its 1-yard line. 52 yards for Sean. Don't say special teamers don't get excited. It's a 14-10 Texas A&M lead. 11:03 remaining. Sean Wilson, well, you would think he just threw a 52-yard touchdown pass. He was even ready to block after kicking it down to the 1. There have been 13 college football Saturdays, and they've included a number of rivalries, but none bigger than this. A&M and Texas, anytime, any place in this state, it is a numero uno for importance. 1st and 10 Longhorns, full house backfield from their 1. And Tubbs, and why not? He's 6'5". Give it to him and let him lean for 3 yards. He's out to the 4-yard line.
He got a good block by Cunningham, the left side, and that's all he needs, and he's going to make 4 or 5 yards if he gets any kind of blocking. To get out of there and make 3 is pretty good.
In a day that involves a number of rivalries, both intra-state and conference rivalries, we've seen Georgia Tech knock off Georgia, Auburn beating Alabama, denying them their chance at the national championship. And now the Horns trying to spoil the Aggies here in College Station. 2nd and 7. Out to the 9-yard line goes Winford Tubbs.
A&M does not want to let him out. When you give this big old boy some running room, he'll ramble. And again, they go to the left side behind Cunningham, their best blocker, and he finds some running room, and he turns up. There's a lot of blockers out there in front of him. Just hard to stop him. This is a big play here, third and 1.5.
And they had to take Tubbs out of the game because he lost his shoe. He ran right out of his shoe right there, Vince. And now they may have to call timeout here on a 3rd and 2. You want Tubbs in the game. And there he is over on the sidelines. Lace him up, youngster. They need you for a couple of more. $9:49 remaining. I'm Tim Brando with Vince Dooley. We're in the 4th quarter. And the Aggie towels are out because the Longhorns inside their 10 need 2.
Let's see if they go to the left, Timmy, which is where they've gone on every short yardage situation behind Ed Cunningham, number 72. The motion is that way, and here they come.
Right on cue, Coach. And it should be enough for the first down, and the Aggies appeared ready for it. But Cunningham's so big, and then too so is Winfred Tubbs.
Ed Cunningham, as you remember, Tim, his father had a heart attack when they were up in Arkansas. Number 72 comes in, stands the defender straight up, and gives him enough room, Tubbs enough room to go ahead and make the first down.
Ed Cunningham.
Your best runner behind your best blocker. He stands him up good, gets him off the line, and Tubbs makes the first down.
You're right. His dad, Chester Cunningham, you see the measurement forthcoming, and he does have it by almost the length of the football. His father, Chester, had a massive heart attack shortly after the Horns knocked off Arkansas 24-20. And Kenny Hatfield and the entire Arkansas staff spent their time, actually put Ed and his mother up in Fayetteville, paid for them actually to stay while their dad and her wife was being tended to.
And Kenny went by every day, and they even let Ed Cunningham work out, use their facilities, and Kenny went by to see him, but I understand he's doing fine, and he's here now.
The Arkansas plane, their team jet, flew the family back after Chester was well.
Look at that guy. Look at him.
That's Chris Samuels past the 15 to the 16-yard line, and this is a running back bench that's used more as a pass receiver than as a running back.
But if you're fresh and you're running behind Cunningham, their left outside linebacker, William Thomas, number 11, was offsides before the snap, and that's why the flag was thrown.
Thomas, who's had a big day along with Aaron Wallace blitzing from those corners. And you watch Bob Davie look at film, and I know you and he, the defensive coordinator at Texas A&M, looked at a great deal of it yesterday. He actually enjoys, I think, these positions the most because he really asks a lot of them.
Well, it's fun to coach those kind of athletes.
Repeat first down.
Yeah. So that makes it 1st and 5. And Bob Davie did spend a lot of time, which I really appreciate, and he loves the game, and I enjoyed visiting with him.
Davie worked for Jackie Sherrill at Pittsburgh, came over, and R.C. Slocum says, well, he earned the right to be my defensive coordinator, and R.C. was the former defensive coordinator while under Sherrill. 1st and 5. Forbes, hands, and there's Samuels again. You're right. Those legs are limber. Anthony Williams, number 48, the sophomore, right inside linebacker, making the tackle. That's a 10-yard pickup.
Well, again, they continue to go behind Cunningham. And now the big 44 Tubbs is a blocker. He can block. And he hit Williams, number 48, pretty good. So they're controlling the football a little bit. They knocked it out from the 1-yard line.
And Tubbs bouncing and struggling, twisting up to the 30-yard line. And another healthy gain on first down. We're in College Station, Texas, and our storyline, Texas A&M and Texas, looks this way. Pavlis, 13 of 24, not a bad offering, particularly that last touchdown pass to Waddle at the end of the third quarter. Tubbs the story offensively with 141 yards starting for the first time, and the first downs all with the Aggies. 2nd and 6. A late pitch, and Samuels with a good cutback gets it up to the 34. A couple of yards shy of the first down. Derek Frazier, the freshman from Sugar Land, Texas, made the stop. He's replacing Mickey Washington, who injured his shoulder against SMU a week before the Arkansas game.
Everybody just came upfield so fast, they actually ran by him, and Samuels just froze there. Good blocking in the offensive line. And Samuels picked his way and finally got some positive yards.
Frazier, a nice story, a freshman story in place of Washington, who really spearheaded that Aggie secondary. 3rd and 2. Tubbs in trouble, and Aaron Wallace wraps him up.
And they said you are not going to do that again. You've done it 3 times. You've run to the left. You've run Tubbs. And actually, A&M brought an extra man or 2, and they went up the field. They knew where it was coming. You'll see them come up in a hurry. There's 4, 5 people off the corner. And finally, Aaron Walker, number 23, who's made a lot of big plays. Aaron Wallace, rather, made the play.
And there you see an injured Aggie, John Miller, and this is a position where they've already lost Pat Henry, the starter. Aggies are running out of noses. Ilgidal gets it away. No marker, but a nice acting job by Ilgidal, and it goes dead at the 39-yard line after a 29-yard punt. 1988, the Cotton Bowl. Texas A&M taking on Notre Dame. Under 2 minutes left in the first half, and Darren Lewis becomes a passer, hitting Tony Thompson to tie Notre Dame at 10 in the second half. A&M dominated, led by guess who? Aaron Wallace, sacking Terry Andersack here. Notre Dame did not score again as the Aggies won it 35-10. As we come back here, the Aggies get it back out to the 43-yard line. And the Aggies will not be in the Cotton Bowl this year, but they are going to the John Hancock Sun Bowl. They'll be taking on Pittsburgh. Good intersectional game here between these two.
2nd and 6.
Panthers with a victory today against Rutgers in Dublin, Ireland. 2nd down and 6 now for Pavlis. Robert Wilson, the lone setback.
Come on.
Wilson gets 2 or 3. Brady Cavness the first to grab him. Cavness has had one of those hot and cold days that freshmen can have. He's made some great hits, but he was the man that was burned just before the end of the third quarter on that final play when he took the bite on the play fake with time running out, and Percy Waddle caught the touchdown pass. And that put David McWilliams' team down by 4.
A&M now would like to run some clock and also control the football too. They're in their too tight in offense, and they're running their big back, Robert Wilson, who's had a splendid year, number 20. He's over 600 yards. Now they won't time out on a critical 3rd and 4.
Yeah, there was some confusion about what play had been called, and Lance Pavlis knows that if they can control the football here, they'll be in good shape in getting that 6th consecutive victory against the Horns. 14-10 our score. Texas A&M leading Texas. 5:34 remaining. And the Longhorns need a defensive surge here. They're showing blitz, and they give it to Simmons, and he has a first down. Stanley Richard made the stop. A nice adjustment by number 33, Vince.
Randy Simmons made the first down because number 20, Robert Wilson, made one heck of a block. And we'll see it right over here.
Ooh.
and cut back in him. He was out there on the flank and made the block. And what a nice job Simmons did of running outside that block by Wilson.
Randy Simmons, all of his carries in the second half. First and 10, 5-12 and counting. Aggies leading 14-10. Wilson, that's 3-4 yards at a chunk. Ken Hackamak making the stop. And the road to success for Texas A&M. Look at what they've done in their 7 victories, Vince. And then in the 3 losses. And you notice the biggest problem, not rushing the ball as well.
Well, they've rushed it pretty good even tonight, but A&M is rushing the ball right now, and I think that's a real key. Is they'd like to run this clock down. It's 4:37. They've just made a first down, and then they're ahead of the game, made 5 yards on first down, so they're 2nd and 6, and they want to keep running. Whoa.
Simmons ran right into his own lineman. He ran right into Richmond Webb, I believe.
I think also McCall. McCall fired off, but he didn't get off the line of scrimmage very well, and I think that
Pappas is the guy that's hurting. Take a look at 66 here, Coach.
Well, let's see. There's 66. Yeah, he comes back in. He's looking for him like a pass protection. No wonder. Yeah, Pappas made a mistake there. Wow.
Hello.
Yeah, my old man hit me.
3rd and 8.
He's holding it.
Incomplete, and we have a marker down. Pass intended for Waddle, and I believe you called it as it happened, holding.
I thought McCall, number 77, was on Dronette. Dronette had him beat to the outside, and the tackles will hold you if they get an opportunity to do that.
McCall, the junior from Lufkin, Texas. Lloyd Dale will give us the official word.
Holding, offense, decline, 4th down.
I still love Southwest Conference officials when they have the PA microphone on. They really let you know.
Here's Hackamak. Let's see what he's doing. Well, he's just getting held a little bit, but I don't think that was a real hole. There was another hole. I think that was McCall, number 77, on Dronette.
4th and 8.
Of course, you can always have 1 or 2 holes on each play.
This is a long line drive punt that will be a touchback, and Texas will start at its 20-yard line. 3:38 remaining. There's Ken Hackamak. And the old cliche, when you're having a tough year, you play this one as if it were your bowl. This is a bowl every year in this state. Speaking of bowl games, the Mazda Gator Bowl, Clemson and West Virginia. You'll see that one on ESPN with Major Harris, who was in the top 3 in today's Heisman balloting.
It ought to be a good one. 2 good football teams.
Ron Franklin and Kevin Kiley will be calling that game, and the All-American Bowl from Birmingham, Alabama will be an interesting matchup as well. Vince and I will be at the Holiday Bowl, which has BYU against Penn State. Here, Donovan Forbes throws, and it's complete to Jones. Hammered out of bounds near the first down marker. You see the time remaining. Texas trailing by 4, 14-10. Kevin Smith ushering him out of bounds, number 26.
He has played extremely well, Kevin Smith. 9 interceptions already this year. And the ball game is going to come down to this drive, Tim.
Andre Ware won the Heisman, but who's going to win here? Nearly picked off. Dangerous pass thrown the opposite way, and Kevin Smith had his 10th interception on his mind.
Well, he threw it high enough and away from him, but he was under tremendous pressure, and what you don't want to take is the loss right here. You got 3rd and about a half, and again, A&M puts more pressure on him. He did a great job of getting rid of the football, even though it could have been intercepted.
Thrift was the intended receiver. 3rd and 1. Tubbs, first down. Boy, he'll get you the 1 or 2 yards. They may have solved the fullback problem, the Longhorns, even if they don't win today's game.
Well, Cunningham blocks down as he continues to, and there's a little cross blocking in there, and the big boy, Tubbs, falls for the first down.
He could well be the answer. Highly recruited running back at the Catholic. That's his career best, and he's got a long career yet ahead.
Here comes the blitz again.
Forbes incomplete, intended for Keith Cash, number 11, the junior, brother of Kerry Cash, the tight end. And it's 2nd and 10 coming up.
Forbes is doing a good job of reading the blitz and getting rid of the football, but he really isn't throwing very well. The pressure is making him throw not only soon, but high, and he's a little off target.
Remember, we saw Peter Gardere for one series. I suspect that Len Amity just took time to talk with Forbes. 2nd and 10.
Look out.
Down he goes.
Oh.
Aaron Wallace.
Looks like Wallace is limping with that bad toe that's bothered him, but he's limping after the play. He wasn't limping when he came on this blitz from the corner. And he's on the corner. We can't see him yet, but you're going to see him here in a second, because he runs slap by the blocker, and there he goes.
Third and 19. Walker out of bounds. He did not get the foot in.
Walker looks like apparently was definitely out of bounds. Ball again just a little high. He couldn't come down. No question about that.
So 4th and 19 with 1:55 to play. Texas has 2 timeouts remaining, so they go for it. Wallace again. Forbes stepping up. Nearly picked off again, and the Aggie defense may have done it again. The home of the 12th man going after their 6th straight against Texas.
Well, the pressure off the corner by Wallace is really something. Forces him up inside. Forbes on the move. Zips the ball just a little hard. Almost intercepted by Snow, number 2.
Deion Snow, one of the few Californians involved in this game out of Los Angeles, plays a lot in the nickel and dime coverage, and they certainly had that particular coverage called there on 4th and 19. So it's first down. The Longhorns still have 2 timeouts, but only that much time remaining, 1:48. Wilson gets a couple, and the Horns quickly call the timeout with 1:40 remaining. Florida State and Florida are on the way. Bob Carpenter standing by with our college football scoreboard show that will be coming up immediately following our game. The big play of this game right here defensively by Wallace.
Wallace has got tremendous acceleration off the football. And here he is, gets that right hand down and swings him around and sacks him.
14-10 our score. Texas A&M leading Texas. 1 minute and 40 seconds remain here in College Station. The Aggies scoring with just 1/10 of a second remaining on the clock to close out the 3rd quarter. That'll be the play of the game if this score holds up. Percy Waddle on the receiving end from Lance Pavlis. That gave the Aggies the lead. Simmons down to the 16-yard line. They may mark him down to the 17. Stanley Richard making the tackle. Clock continuing to run. They do have 1 timeout remaining, and now Texas will absorb that final timeout. You know, we talked about the evaluation period that has been so well documented here in the state of Texas of David McWilliams' program. I asked DeLoss Dodge yesterday in Houston if he really felt that they needed to make the public statement about the evaluation period at the risk of making many believe that McWilliams' job was truly on the line. And he said, yes, Tim, I really believe that Texas fans needed to know that we were taking a close look at the program. And McWilliams is involved in this evaluation.
Well, when you get beat 50-7 by Baylor, and that ends a 38-year-old streak, 18 straight games that Texas had won over Baylor in Austin. And by that score of 50-7, I think a review is the way they put it. Now, of course, a lot of people interpret that it means that David McWilliams' job is on the line, which is not the case at all. But they're going to review every part of the program and even go into great detail, and maybe that some assistant coaches' jobs might be in line, perhaps not coordinators, but some assistant coaches.
On 3rd and 3 now, the Aggies trying to hold on to it. This would have iced the game away, and Simmons has it. Inside the 10 and down to the 8. That should sew it up as Lance Gunn makes the stop. And our ream players of the game for Texas, Winfred Tubbs, who had a masterful day for the Longhorns as a freshman, getting his first start, 141 yards plus on the afternoon. And Lance Pavlis, who with all the pressure all week long made the one key pass that was the key to this victory today.
He was under heavy blitz. He kept his eyes focused downfield. The man had him beat, and he threw it up for the touchdown, which was the big play of the ball game.
First down and goal for the Aggies. Simmons again. He's down to the 2. Now this game began with a pregame brawl. And David McWilliams and R.C. Slocum are two men that have great respect for one another. And this is a rivalry that has been heated, but not dirty.
No, in fact, it's a shame to see that happen. And I know that both of those coaches will address that problem. We don't need that in college athletics. And it's just a shame that it had to start that way. But it showed the intensity of the two teams.
And Wilson takes it in. Now they salted away here, but you have to wonder if David McWilliams is going to remember this. Robert Wilson gets the score. And Slocum's a happy camper there with Bob Toledo. They've seen it 6 straight times on that sideline.
Texas has played extremely well. Had a good chance to capitalize on more opportunities.
Talbot with the extra point. And you're absolutely right. They opened the second half with another opportunity, and it went by the boards.
Well, they ran to the left behind big Richmond Webb. And Robert Wilson, who is a pretty good-sized fullback himself, 6'1", 245, just a sophomore, went in for the touchdown.
And it really never is safe until you lead by more than one touchdown. Hence the reason Wilson carried it in while the game seemingly was already put away. 20 seconds are left here in College Station, Texas. Well, Vince, a 21-10 lead. The Aggies apparently on their way to the Hancock Bowl. It's been a successful year for R.C. Slocum in his debut, and it's been your debut in the booth. I look forward to our Holiday Bowl, and I enjoyed working with you.
Well, thank you, Tim. It's been a great learning experience, and you've been a great teacher, and I appreciate everything. It is a big win for R.C. Slocum, who took over the program, and the big question was, could he beat Texas? And he did. R.C. he's been at A&M 16 of the last 17 years, and he's been the assistant head coach. So he's a great part of this tremendous tradition here at Texas A&M.
We would be remiss also when we give thanks to our college football season that we've enjoyed these 13 straight weeks, to not thank the guys in the truck. Bruce Connell, our producer, with us all year long. Drew Ezikoff, our director. All of the staff.
Well, they've been good teachers, and what I've been impressed about is the tremendous team spirit that over a period of the year that is accumulated as everybody works together, and it's really been a team effort.
The Longhorns will bring it back out one more time. Chris Samuels looking to get out of bounds now, and does so at the 15-yard line.
Never realized there was that many people that went into this until I got into it. There's a lot of people.
Well, we will work together one more time as we get close to New Year's Day. Penn State and BYU, classic matchup of defense versus offense, and two class coaches, Paterno and Lavelle Edwards.
They are indeed two class coaches, great gentlemen, and we're going to have a heck of a football team. You're right, defense versus offense in that ball game.
Speaking of the help that we've had down in that truck, Mark Levy, Joe Castellano, our associate producer, associate director, a lot of help back in our studios in Bristol, Connecticut. Bob Carpenter and the support staff back there providing us with the scores and highlights and all of the events happening throughout the course of the day. Our thanks to them and our coordinating producer, Mo Davenport. A long pass thrown up in the air by Forbes, incomplete, with only 5 seconds remaining.
Don't forget the people up here in the booth. Old Travis Hardy over here has been a big help.
Technical crew giving us all of the shots that we asked for. Barry Ramey back in our studios in Bristol, Connecticut, giving us all of the pretty graphics that we have to show you throughout the course of the year. John Madry, our statistician that comes in from Carolina week in and week out to give us all of the vital numbers throughout the course of the game. So many that we mention, so many that we don't mention often enough. That's it, and it ends on an interception by Horton. Isn't it interesting? A week ago, it was his controversial pass interference call that led to Arkansas's touchdown that may have cost R.C. Slocum a date in the Cotton Bowl. But today, the Aggies are Texas State champions with their victory against the Longhorns. And here's the big play that put it away for Slocum with only a second remaining in the third quarter.
Watch down at the bottom of his screen. Waddle runs right by Cavness, who just froze on the line of scrimmage. Pavlis hangs the ball up. He saw him wide open. He was under a lot of pressure. And that was the play of the game. That was the difference in the football game. One big play by the quarterback, Pavlis, to Waddell. Here's Pavlis again. It looks like he's down, almost sacked, but he hangs it up because he was wide open. And watch him react with a little thanks. A big thanks.
R.C. Slocum needn't say prayers anymore. He's won his first game as a head coach against the bitter rivals from Austin. Our final 21-10. For Vince Dooley, I'm Jim Brando saying so long on this college football Saturday.